Secretary Carson, you've heard a lot of concerns from here on the Hill. The administration's proposed elimination of community development block grants, the home investment partnership, the rural capacity building grants, harsh rental reforms. I could go on and on. We had members of this subcommittee express strong concerns last year when you said you want to eliminate these vital programs. Now you're back here saying the same thing. And frankly, the questions I get back home, are you folks just totally tone deaf to what's going on? I mean, you order a $31,000 dining room set at taxpayers' money. $31,000. I don't even know what that could look like. But what is $31,000? I'll tell you. It's double the low-income limit to access Section 8 assistance for an individual in Addison, Bennington, Caledonia, Essex, Memorial counties in Vermont. A $31,000 dining room set is more than double their annual income. And it's almost like it's us and the heck with the rest of you. Despite the fact that the president signed the bipartisan budget agreement and gave his word that he backed it, now the press is reporting that he's considering going back on his word and sending a package of rescissions to Congress to undo the spending decisions based on that deal. We Vermonters think you keep your word. And you and I have different visions of what should be in the budget, the Department of Housing and Urban Development. The Congress, in a bipartisan vote, House and Senate clearly rejected the president's proposed cuts. So given the stark difference between the vision Congress has for the department and yours, have you or anyone on your staff recommended, or do you plan to recommend to the president or OMB that we rescind any of the money we recently appropriated for housing and community development programs?
Well, as I mentioned to you, I recognize the benefits of many of these programs. And there's
that's not my question. My question, have you or anyone on your staff recommended or plan to recommend to the president or OMB that we rescind any of the money we recently appropriated for housing and community development proposal? That's an easy yes or no answer.
I have not talked to anybody this week about that, but throughout this process.
Have you or anyone in your department proposed to the president or OMB that we rescind any of this money? I don't care whether it's this week or last week or any other time. Have you?
I have talked many times about particularly protecting the elderly and the disabled and making sure that we don't have to have multiple conversations about it.
Okay, let me try it in English. Have you or anyone in your department recommended that we rescind any of the money we recently appropriated for housing community development proposals?
The proposal to rescind things has come up during the last week, and I already said that I have not spoken to anybody about that.
Do you intend to recommend any rescissions?
I imagine we will be engaged in discussions, yes.
What would you recommend to rescind?
I would recommend that we think about not only what is going on today, but what will be going on 30 years from now.
Okay, but we're dealing with this year's budget. What would you talk about rescinding in this year's budget?
I think, again, I hope no one here is tone deaf, but clearly there's...
We're not tone deaf to a clear, definitive answer, Mr. Secretary.
Someone has to be concerned about what's going to happen in the future. Someone has to.
Good. I'm concerned about the future. What are we doing this year? Are you going to be recommending any rescissions?
I will continue to advocate strongly for the disabled, the elderly, and the most vulnerable people in our society.
Well, you didn't last year, the proposals you made, so let me ask you one more time. Do you intend to recommend any rescissions in this year's budget?
And let me just say one more time, I will continue to advocate strongly for the vulnerable people in our society. Absolutely.
Well, I just know for the record, Madam Chair, he's not answering the question. He has no intention to answer the question, apparently, or maybe doesn't know how to answer the question. I yield my time.